So thank you so much for joining me. I had a nudge from my team in spirit to do an event to share some of the latest evidence from the spirit world, to share what I have come to know deep in my heart without any doubt that the afterlife is real. Now, how can I say this with assurance? It's because I am an evidence-based medium. And that means I sit with people and show them through verifiable evidence, things I couldn't possibly know, that our loved ones who have passed are still very much part of our lives. And it's that evidence that has convinced me beyond any doubt that we don't die. Now, I didn't know this for most of my life. I am absolutely not what people call a born medium. I have not seen spirits at all until today. I had a moment I have been praying for daily. Let me see you. And within half an hour before I did a reading earlier today, I saw a spirit with my own eyes. I still am processing that. But, people might chalk that up to my imagination or an illusion. But today I want to share with you evidence from some of my readings and some teachings about how you can connect too. Because having not been born with the ability to see spirits, having no idea that there is a spirit world, I just blocked that world out completely. I want to give you a little bit of my background to those of you who are new to my work. I spent 20 years as a Navy officer. I was very by the book, very left brain, used that logic and analytical side that actually gets in the way of sensing spirits. I had the great honor of serving at the highest levels of the United States military. I was a commanding officer of a shore unit. I was a special assistant to the head of the U.S. Navy, the Chief of Naval Operations. But the coolest job in the world was being the aide, the right-hand man to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. That's the head of the entire U.S. military, and he is the principal advisor to the president. So when I was aide to the chairman, I had no idea I would one day be serving as a medium. I tell people that it was a great honor to serve my country, but nothing can match the honor now of showing you your loved ones who have passed are still right here. How that transition came about is because of this young woman here. This is my stepdaughter, Susan. She was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, 27 years old, crossing the flight line at Cherry Point Marine Corps Air Station when a bolt of lightning out of the blue struck and killed her, along with her 6-month fetus, who would become our grandson, but he passed with her. When I saw Susan's body in the coffin, I knew, I had an epiphany. That's not Susan. There has to be something that enlivens our bodies. And I have come to know beyond any doubt that is the soul. Spirit is everywhere, and we are the expressions of this divine intelligence that animates everything, that breathes us. But when I was grieving Susan, I didn't know any of this. And I know that many of you watching this want desperately to know that your loved ones who have passed are not dead and gone. I know that desperation. I know what I wanted to hear from someone in a place of authority, someone in the know could tell me. And what that is what I'm going to tell you now from the authority of those in the spirit world who have proven beyond a doubt to me that they are here. Here's what they want you to know. There is an afterlife. I guarantee it. So you can take my word for it, and I'm going to give you lots of words and lots of evidence in our time together here today to show you how real the spirit world is. But I want to also give you a few tools today so that you can come to this conclusion by yourself. Okay? So, not a born medium. I have some notes so I don't forget anything that I want to share with you. But my original goal was to connect personally with my stepdaughter, Susan. It took me several years, so this was not an overnight occurrence. But somehow I knew that meditating was going to be the key to connecting with her. So I began sitting quietly the very week that Susan passed, and that was part of my transformation. So yes, it took a while before I connected with Susan, but I ultimately did very clearly sense her presence and do now and then. She doesn't pop in on me all the time because I no longer need to know she's okay. I know it. So I dedicate my time to increasing the clarity of my connection with those across the veil. It's perfect timing that I share with you today because, as I mentioned earlier, I actually saw a spirit today. I had to call my neighbor and say, "Was that you moving through the side yard?" Knowing it wasn't. And he said, "No." And I said, "Okay, then my prayers were just answered." I knew it was the young man who I was about to bring through in a reading. And oh, did he come through clearly. It was a dream reading, like many are these days, thank goodness, with so much evidence for his mom that he's still here. So I keep talking about the evidence. Those of you who may not be familiar with mediumship, connecting with those who have passed, will need that evidence. Some of you may say, maybe you're just reading the minds of your clients, picking up information about their loved ones that you already know. So that's why I want to start with the evidence I give you with what I call not telepathy moments. In other words, moments when I couldn't be reading the person's mind, and you'll understand as I share these stories. For example, here's one I haven't shared publicly with anyone yet, a reading I just did the past month. I brought through a woman's 2 sons who passed. She's given me permission to share this. And they showed me that both of them passed in separate car accidents. What a story for a mom to have 2 sons across the veil. But let me tell you, she knows now they're still right here because of the clarity, the connection we enjoyed. And in that connection, one of them showed me the details of his passing on a major highway in the dark. Mom's nodding her head yes. And I said, there was someone else in the car with him and they passed too. She said, yes. And I tuned into him and I said, he said that there could be 3 crosses along the highway there. She shook her head. She said, no, just 2. I said, okay, just remember he brought it up. Later in that reading, I said, he's very clearly showing me you have a license plate with his name on it. I just got goosebumps because Spirit loves when we share this evidence. You have a license plate, but it's a specialized thing. She shook her head. She said, no. Well, I've learned as a medium that our clients don't always know what we're talking about. Just trust the Spirit. She shared the recording of our session with her daughter, and her daughter said, Mom, the license plates. Don't you remember that you had them in the back window of your car for years? Her mom sent me the picture, and it's clear as day. It's a license plate in memory of James, in memory of Michael, who they both gave me their names in that reading. And it's just funny how she was probably thinking of one that was at the back of the car on the bumper, as was I, but her son was talking about the one that was too specialized to be on the bumper. She had it in the window. That is a not telepathy moment because Mom didn't even remember it. As for the 3 crosses, her daughter heard that and said, Mom, they were in an accident because another accident happened right there at the moment and their car ran into the stopped traffic. That other accident was a fatal accident for the one woman in it. So 3 souls crossed the veil, 3 crosses. So a tragic incident, but here were her sons to say, Mom, we're still here. So much more came through in that reading. Let me see. More not telepathy moments. Today, my head had pains. I had different pains in my body. My heart palpitated. All of these symptoms matched the people in the reading. My client said, I'm so sorry you're going through this pain, but it was temporary, it was fleeting. And I said, don't worry, I love being a human pincushion for those in spirit because it's so validating that I actually feel their symptoms in my body. Rest assured, they're not in pain now. Everything is temporary except the soul, which is ongoing. So in one reading, I actually went out know as I had a pain right where the liver is. I reported that I knew this person's loved one across the veil had a liver issue, and then I felt a gurgling sensation and felt as if I were drowning. I'm sorry if this is a bit graphic, but you can understand how real this is, especially when that woman confirmed my loved one had liver disease. He was given blood thinners, and he actually passed from bleeding out. Again, very graphic, but very evidential. And then her loved one went on to reassure her he's okay, sharing with her things going on in her life now that he's aware of, sharing with me his personality, memories, all of those beautiful things that happen in a reading that allow me to guarantee you they are as close as your breath. So this is not just pulling data out of the air. It is active, two-way communication with your loved ones. They're funny if they were funny when they were here. They're serious and tight-lipped if they didn't talk much when they were here. They show up as you would recognize them so that you know this is them. But I have actual conversations with them, as do any good evidence-based mediums. So let's see. Here's one that wasn't telepathy because it hadn't yet happened. I showed a woman that her son in spirit was sending her owls as a sign that he was around. She said, "No, Suzanne, I haven't sensed any owls." I checked with him and I said, "I'm sure of it, so perhaps you're going to have an incident with an owl." I share this one a lot because it's over the top awesome. She emailed me within the next week saying, "You won't believe what happened. I opened the front door of my house and an owl flew in the front door straight up the steps to my son's bedroom." Now, we have an owl that I hear hooting in the trees in our neighborhood all the time, and it's really awesome when you hear an owl. But when is the last time anything like that has happened? She said that owl stayed in his bedroom for an hour till she had to gently shoo it out with a broom, and knew to give full credit to her son for guiding that owl like remote control to let mom know, like I told that medium, "Mom, I'm sending you owls." What a magical moment. How much time do you have? Because I could stay here till tomorrow at this time and share with you the beautiful ways your loved ones send you signs. We just have to trust them, believe that these are signs from your loved ones when they speak to your heart. So one of my favorites that show that our loved ones listen to you when you talk about them happened with my neighbor and friend Irene. She's the vice president of Helping Parents Heal, an awesome organization that helps parents with children across the veil know that the afterlife is real. I know I talk a lot about kids, but your mothers, fathers, spouses, friends, they're all here, especially when you think about them. And Irene's daughter Carly proved this when I sat with Irene to connect with Carly. And Carly, in her normal sassiness, said, "I'm not a prima donna." And Irene burst into laughter and kind of said, "Oh my gosh." Just the previous Sunday, she had been leading her local chapter of Helping Parents Heal. And Carly's stepdad, Irene's husband, Tony, was talking to the group about Carly. She has an amazingly wonderful personality. She is such a light. And he said to the group, "Oh, Carly was such a prima donna." So I know nothing of this. Tony said it, and here comes Carly when I connect with her to say, "I'm not a prima donna." Now that's not pulling data out of the air. That is a real-time live connection with a live soul. You cannot kill the soul. My friend Brenda, I always go like this when I talk about Brenda because I sense her here now. She was larger than life when she walked about in a people suit. She passed from cancer in 2018 and was talking to me within hours. I was going to say 24 hours, but it was the same day. Now she helps me with my readings. And every time before I do a reading, I tune in to Brenda. Tell me something going on in my friend Lynette's life. She was your best friend, so tell me what she's doing now. And every time she shows me something. Just today, before that awesome reading that happened earlier, I said, "Tell me something." She showed me Lynette opening a book and pointing to a specific passage that jumped out at her and she took note of. I checked with Lynette and she said just last night when I was reading, she sent me a picture of that on her phone and it was lighted up with the sun coming through the window in a magical way. Well, others know I played this game with Brenda and they now play it with her. Lynette and I have a mutual friend named Jane. I tuned in to Brenda one day before a reading. I said, tell me something going on with Lynette. And there was a pause. It's almost always immediate. I was like, Brenda, where are you? And then she came in and she said, I was with Jane. She's going through a challenge now. Let her know that I was with her. So I texted Lynette. I said, there's some challenge going on with Jane. Check with her. Lynette said, I'm not aware of anything. I knew to trust this. I started the reading. When the reading was over, I turned my phone over and there's a text from Lynette. You won't believe this. Jane is going through challenges. She actually asked Brenda to bring this up when you played the sign game with her and Lynette. Do you see the web of connections? It's stunning to me. All the time this happens. So let's see. I'm looking at my notes here. So you don't have to be a born medium. Absolutely, this ability can be awakened in you. I learned from teachers and my teachers in spirit in meditation, who are my greatest teachers now. You never know until you try, and that's why I love teaching mediumship. My left brain side loves systems, processes, tools. They're all available to all of us. Born mediums often tell us, no, not everybody can be a medium. Let me put it this way. I know that we can all learn to connect with those who have passed. Not everybody is called to be a medium. It takes an amazing commitment and dedication. But when it's your calling, you can't not do it. And it's my passion. I spend every day trying to get better, and it just keeps getting better for all of us. In the meantime, I want to share with you what I call the 3 E's to finding hope and healing that will help you come to know the afterlife is real. I guarantee it. Those 3 E's are, number 1, educate yourself about the afterlife. The mere fact that you're tuning in now and paying attention to the evidence and learning these tools is part of that education. I have dozens of videos on my YouTube channel that will help educate you about the afterlife. There are plenty of other people putting good things out there too. But start with the videos, start with some of my books about mediumship, anything you can get your hands on about the afterlife. Read people's reports of near-death experiences. Enter near-death experience into the search engine on the internet, and that will start to open up your belief system as you educate yourself that the afterlife is real. This path to hope and healing, the 3 E's, is not linear. The 3 E's don't have to be taken in any one order. They can be just an ongoing path of growth. The next E that I'm going to talk about is experience higher consciousness, the greater reality for yourself. How do you do that? You do that, I don't need notes for this, but I think I'm skipping a whole bunch of stuff here that I wanted to talk about. My guides just said, you don't need your notes. Okay, we'll skip the notes. Experience the higher consciousness through sitting in the silence and practicing presence. One of the most valuable tools I have for you is free, and it's my Bless Me method of connecting with higher consciousness. It's available on the gifts page of my website, so you can go to SuzanneGiesemann.com/gifts, or on YouTube, look up 7 Keys to Connecting with Higher Consciousness. The Bless Me method is my personal process that helps you connect with your own loved ones, your guides, the archangels, the masters. It's a beautiful way of going from normal waking consciousness to an expanded state of consciousness. A lot of people say, I don't have time for lengthy meditations every day. The Bless Me method can be short or extended. Very, very helpful for helping you connect. But if you only have a few minutes, I want you to commit yourself to 3 weeks at least of sitting silently, creating space in your awareness to sense those in higher consciousness by using what I call the sip of the divine practice, where SIP stands for sit in peace. And you can find that also on my YouTube channel. Search for Suzanne Giesemann, Sip of the Divine. It is transforming thousands of people's lives who thought, I can't meditate, I don't have time for this. It's a beautiful practice not only for expanding your consciousness, but asking a question of your guides and helpers and loved ones. And once you start reaping the benefit of those 3 minutes a day, those 3 weeks will be gone, and I guarantee you're going to want to do more, because people are giving me feedback that it is already changing their life. So the Bless Me Method and the Sip of the Divine are great for experiencing higher consciousness. So we have educate yourself, experience, and the third E is engage. Engage your loved ones across the veil. Engage your guides. You all have spirit guides. Boy, I could just talk all day on this. All right, we're going to keep it succinct. All of this teaching is in my online classes, which you can find on my website. I have an upcoming class in mediumship with the Shift Network that starts with the basics and just takes a beautiful dive into connecting with loved ones across the veil. And I want to show you right now how to engage with your guides and loved ones. It's as simple as realizing you don't meet them in the head. You meet them in the heart space. Stop analyzing, stop thinking you're making it up, and just dissolve into this heart space where you know love never dies. And talk directly, as if you're talking to your best friend. That brings in the love. And of course, you already love your loved ones, but people think you have to somehow pray to guides or speak formally. They are your best friends. So start talking to them directly with intention, with belief and open mind, and remain aware in this expanded state you're creating now through your practice of sitting in peace regularly, sipping the divine. And notice what comes into your awareness. What new thoughts that you never would have thought of suddenly arise? What people cross your path? What things snag your attention, like an eagle where you never would have seen an eagle? Who sent that eagle? This is how our loved ones speak to us. Sit in peace often enough. Use the Bless Me method regularly, and hopefully you'll start to actually hear them. I hear loved ones speak so clearly at times, depending on the connection we have, that just like last month I did a reading and my client's brother in spirit said, life's too short to take it seriously. My client turned to his wife, she looked at him, and she said to me, his brother has that on his tombstone. Life's too short to take it seriously. Heard it clear as day. That's called clairaudience. You have that ability because you are not only human. I share a way of living that I call the awakened way. This came from connecting with a young man across the veil whose nickname was Wolf. If you want proof that we are souls now, read my book, Wolf's Message. I have no hesitation in saying I can prove we are souls. This young man named Wolf, who was struck and killed by lightning, just like my stepdaughter was, left all of us proof that we know things at a soul level that often filter into our human awareness. And he left proof that he knew he was going to be struck and killed by lightning the next day. It goes way deeper than that, but I don't want to spoil the magic of that story. But the book's called Wolf's Message because Wolf came back through me with evidence to leave a message for all humanity. They were kind of out of balance, you think? We're mostly in our heads. We're thinking we're separate from each other. We're not in the heart space that allows us to know we are all connected. And so Wolf's message to all of us has boiled down into 3 key points that are my teachings of the awakened way. And I've already shared one of them with you. Number one, you are not only human, and that's what makes connection with your loved ones possible. Number two, you're part of one big web connecting all that is. And this story that I share with you with Brenda and Jane and Lynette, there's one example of the web, but I know you could share with me some of your own examples. And number three, you find connection and healing through expanded states of awareness. Your human aspect is a limited expression of the one light of consciousness. The soul is expanded awareness. You touch the soul, you express yourself as the soul you are all the time. But it's so familiar to you, like the hair on your head, you don't even realize you are a soul. So I hope that by educating yourself about the afterlife, experiencing your expanded self for yourself in meditation, when sipping the divine, while walking about in a state of presence, you'll come to know this, and engaging with your loved ones. Talk to them. They hear you. Let me share with you some more magical evidence, okay? Because I just find my greatest joy doing that with you. This happened in a reading that I gave about a month and a half ago to a man who was sent to me by his grief counselor. He was in such deep grief that he didn't know what else to do. So I tuned in using the internet for our reading, and I didn't know who he had across the veil, but as I tuned in, I felt a partner. Now, I blew it right up front on this reading. I'll tell you right up front, no medium is perfect. And I said, "You've lost a partner." He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, this feels like a wife." And he said, "Nope." And I laughed and I said, "Let me tell you why this feels like a wife when clearly it was a man." I said, "Your partner's standing here, hands on hip, and going, 'Well, of course I'm here, and he'd better be listening,' or words to that effect." And his husband started laughing, and he said, "Trust me, I get it." And as a wife, I can tell you that the little bossy nature that I felt from him, I can understand that too. So the gentleman across the veil, his name is Steve, and I have permission to share that with you. I don't want to forget any of this evidence. Here it is. Here is the evidence from Matthew is his partner, and it was Matthew's reading. As I tuned in, Stephen, I felt his personality so clearly. He was a real foodie, he showed me. And he said, nothing but the best. I said to Matthew, he would only shop at a place like Whole Foods or Earth Fare. And he said, oh, absolutely. And I said, and he says, only the finest wine, as he clinks glasses. He said, yeah, you've got him, you've got him. And then he showed me some roses. He showed me a flickering candle, made mention of Archangel Michael, and my client, Matthew, just kept nodding his head. Yep, that's significant, that's significant. I said, okay. And I said, now he's showing me this little plastic toy that I used to have. It was this little solar-powered hula dancer that we set on the windowsill. And I know from what Stephen is showing me that you have one of these. And very nonchalantly, Matthew, wiping away a tear, says, yeah, it's on the shelf next to his ashes, along with the roses, a flickering candle, and a picture of Archangel Michael. So I didn't know it, but Stephen showed us right there. He knows all of the beautiful things that Matthew has put on the shelf next to his ashes in his memory, and so do your loved ones, okay? Going on with that reading. Stephen made a big deal about Matthew having speakers for music, high quality, great sound, and Matthew's shaking his head saying, I don't know why he's bringing that up. So I said what I say when I trust the spirit over the sitter, just remember it came up. Well, about 4 days later, Matthew got a package from his boss, a set of Bose speakers. So clearly Stephen knew the boss was going to present that to his husband and brought it up in the reading ahead of time. Guys, that's another not telepathy moment. I think my most favorite moment in that reading with Matthew was when Stephen showed me Matthew sweeping up the whiskers from Stephen's razor. I could see they were just little sharp hairs, a lot of them, so very clearly from a razor. And I said, you must be like a neat person, because he's showing me you cleaning up the whiskers. And Matthew said, it's significant. Well, at the end of the reading, Matthew pulled a chain from around his neck out from under his shirt and showed me. He said, Suzanne, this is a piece of cremation jewelry. I couldn't bear to put Stephen's ashes in it, so I gathered up the hair from his razor, and they're in this necklace. Another goosebump moment. Your loved ones see your actions. And Matthew asked me, is he aware of the tributes we've done for him? So I checked, because he's right here. We're talking. It's live. It's real. I guarantee it. And Stephen showed me 3 trees, not just one, 3 trees planted in his honor. And Matthew said, that's right. And I checked again. I said, he says somebody burned wish paper for him. Matthew said, I don't know what that is. And I said, look it up and find out, because he knows about it. And he says somebody put a wreath with something in it in his honor on water for him. He said, I don't know about that, but I'll find out. That's a great answer for a reading. It's much better than no. So Matthew got back to me later. He had put a notice out on Facebook. Anybody know about this? One woman wrote back and said, yeah, I used wish paper. It's specially made paper where you write a wish on it. And her wish was, Stephen, I hope you're well. I hope you know we love you. And she lit it on fire, and it goes whoosh. It's really fun. It just instantly vanishes. So he didn't know about that, but Stephen did. And as for the wreath, somebody else commented on Facebook, yeah, we took a candle, put it in a paper bag, set it in a wreath, and put it on a lake, set it out on the water in Stephen's honor. I could go on with things from Stephen. He is quite the communicator. He's quite the funny guy, too. He brought up an incredibly funny joke that was not funny to anybody but the 2 of them. But, of course, he brought it up because it's a beautiful moment that shows the love they shared for each other. And that's the reason I wanted to share this reading with you today. The love was so palpable in that session. This is not imagination. To feel the connection we all share at a soul level is one of the greatest gifts of connecting across the veil. At the end of that reading, I said to Matthew, I don't know when I felt the love this strong, but I have to say to you, I love you. And he said, Suzanne, I didn't want to sound weird, but I love you too, and we just met. And it's because when you sit in this field of pure connection, you get to know this is who we are. This is what our souls know. This is the fringe benefit of experiencing and engaging for yourself, to come to know you are love in expression, and love never dies. Let me look at my notes and make sure that I'm not missing any stories I wanted to share with you today. Okay, that's that. I hope the woman whose reading I did today will forgive me, because I said I was going to share it. I didn't ask if I could share details, but I was just so blown away when he took credit for showing up in my yard. He was the one who I saw for the first time ever, and I was describing his personality. She said, yes, that's him exactly. And I said, ooh, he would make a good lawyer. And she said, he was a lawyer. And that's how it goes. So let me see. Educate yourself. I hope you'll check out my courses online, because every step of the way, as I have discovered how to make this connection, I've documented it. My left brain side of me is still very much here. I found that balance between flowing with spirit, that's so important, learning to trust this is real, and the left brain side that needs to know, how is this possible? How does this work? And I've come up with systems that work, and it's my greatest joy to share it with you. And so online courses, in-person courses, check out my events calendar. And the kind of evidence that I've shared with you today, I am never at a loss for the latest evidence from those in the spirit world. I note it all the time, and every month I share it in what I call the Monthly Connection webinar, where we have this community of kindred spirits. We come together monthly in these webinars so we can share the joy, share the passion, feel the love, raise our consciousness, and continue our journey together. So I hope you'll join me for the Monthly Connection. Find that right at the top of my website every month, right under the banner, these little thumbnails, or on my events calendar and other upcoming events. So that's how you educate yourself, books and YouTube. And again, practice, practice, practice clearing your mind. Those who tell me I can't meditate, that's BS. Oh, you don't know that acronym? That means belief system. What do you think it was? Your belief system that tells you I can't quiet my mind is wrong. 3 minutes a day, guys. Sip of the divine will start to change your life as your full senses, the soul senses, come back online, because you are not only human. You are not a 5 sensory being. You are a full sensory being. And seeing with the eyes of the soul, which are not in your head, they're right here. And hearing with the ears of the soul, which already know your loved ones could not possibly die, is the greatest gift you can give yourself. It will be my joy to be your teacher on this journey, but then I want to set you free to continue that journey, talking with your own guides who are your greatest teachers. But in the meantime, welcome to the community where we know that love never dies. You are so very loved. My guides tell me this every day in the Daily Way messages that I publish on Facebook and on my website. Join me in reading those. Get your own messages and come to know life is eternal. Thank you, and I'll see you around.